Next, let's talk about how a typical faction warfare complex actually looks like. We will not cover open complexes and battlefields in this video. So open complexes do not have acceleration gate at all. They only have 30 kilometer capture radius from the capture point, and that's it. And battlefield is a special case. We will have a separate video dedicated to battlefields only. Okay, so assume we just talk about normal gated faction warfare complex, and when you activate warp to it, you land in a dead space area with acceleration gate in the middle. We will talk about features of dead space in the next video. So here I will only cover the features that are not specific to dead space. The gate has 100 kilometer activation radius. If you are familiar with acceleration gates in missions or DD sites or other combat sites in the game, when you will notice that it's a bit unusual. Typically, acceleration gates have only about 10 kilometer activation radius, but it was changed a while ago for faction warfare specifically to prevent people from camping the warping in active systems. When you activate the acceleration gate and the gate checks that your ship passes all of the restrictions that we talked about previously, and if it does, when you land in the complex on the warping beacon. Important to know that any ship that enters the complex will always land on the warping beacon. The margin of error is really small, it's about 2 kilometers, so generally everyone who activates the gate always lands on the same point essentially. The inside of a complex is essentially sphere with the capture point in the middle and 30 kilometer capture radius. Note that the warping beacon and the capture point are not the same. The warping beacon is located about 8 to 10 kilometers away from the capture point, so you may need to keep it in mind when you position yourself in the complex. The area inside is not like an abyssal space, so it's not strictly restricted. The only purpose really for this capture radius area is that you need to be within 30 kilometers away from the capture point to run a timer. So you can leave this area, but you will not be able to complete a complex once you are outside of capture radius. And one final point is that cloaking is disabled within the capture area, so within 30 kilometers from the capture point, but it is available outside of a capture point. It's useful to know that because occasionally you may encounter so-called cloaky traps. So you may think that only one ship is inside the complex, and when you warp in, you get tackled, and when a couple of ships decloak outside of 30 kilometers from the capture point. Just keep it in mind. But other than that, that's pretty much it as far as the complex structure go. In the next video, we will discuss dead space in more detail.